So we are here with Zoc, aka Shakerco, and I wanted to talk about a few things relating to the world moderation in Oofhead's world, and just overall your background in general.
Okay.
So first, the main question here is so apparently in recent weeks, Oofhead's world has been taking some hits in terms of moderation, with a bunch of the old moderation world mods leaving or quitting in this case, or retiring. So do you have any words about that?
Um, Most weren't quitting per se. UFED just did a lot of more changes. The number one change was that any people that had contributions to the world, they kept the panel, but they just weren't considered actual moderators. For anyone who was inactive for a really long time, they just were kicked out of the team entirely.
Okay, okay. So how many people, it's like an estimated number I can say, how many people lost world mod in the past few weeks?
Mm, I don't have a really good estimate. I know a few people did. It kind of reminds me of how a lot of people wanted to resign due to how UFED was treating his world, but I don't know. I'm getting this mostly from someone else. Apparently, they talked to several people, and around 8 people, including them, wanted to resign from moderation because of what was happening back then. It's obviously not bad now because I think UFED cares more about his world than how he did before. But
Yeah,
yeah.
from what I've heard personally myself, especially with like the recent updates to his world, when he combined every single thing in the world into like one major part in the school, the world turned like very optimized and buggy in a way for quest players in particular. So if that is the case, then it's good that he's caring about his world a bit more. So that's good. Have you talked to Oofhead at all recently?
Yeah. Last I talked to him, I asked him about if he added balloons and party stuff to his map before I even knew he added it. And then he showed me an image of a big cake, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I checked it out for myself. Saw the little banner on the front, I thought it was cool. Saw the balloons everywhere, and then the cake for myself.
Nice. Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So when you first looked at the VRChat FPE community, you over the course of a year, you went through a lot when it came to that community, and you wanted to quit. And then all of a sudden, you got world mod in Oofhead's world. So, how did that happen?
So it's kind of a funny story. It happened within a friend group before he left the said friend group. I asked him jokingly if I could get world mod because he was talking about how two other people were going to get world mod, both named Microwave 64 and Jades. They were going to get world mod. And then he jokingly said, what if I hire you? And I was like, yeah, you should. Mind you, I said that jokingly, and all of a sudden, I look in his server and I had a ping there, and I see a bunch of, channels, admin only. And, well, now I have world mod.
Okay. Well, very unexpected way to get to know that you got world mod. Um okay, now now focusing more on like diving back into your background. So you joined YouTube back around 5 years ago, correct?
Zoc VR, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
and
had an earlier channel before that, but Zoc VR was like really the channel where, I guess I got to do something I wanted to do more because previous channel just had a bunch of content. Just it's kind of everything. But then this one, Zoc VR, was made. I kind of did it because it's like a rip off of Bub Games, and then it started turning into its own thing with its own jokes eventually after a period of time. So yeah.
okay, okay. So okay, so this is a good question. When did your channel really start to take off? When did you really start? When people start to like really notice you?
I think it's when I started going to the fandom, Gorilla Tag fandom codes. When I started to join those codes, I started to mess with people more in there, and eventually it would get to a point where the videos would start to skyrocket. I think another big contender for why I was exploding in popularity so much was a series I made called Bullying Children in Gorilla Tag, which was actually my first ever video I made. And then it just kept adding on to the series. And I guess it got into the algorithm, and most of the videos from the older days have over 1,000 views. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay. So
I think my first ever video has 1.6K. The second one has 1K. The third one has 1K. And yeah.
So you continued Gorilla Tag content throughout the years, and then we get into around 2025, which was this was when you and None User went to VRChat, and you guys you guys came across the FPE fandom in VRChat.
So we actually came across it beforehand on a live stream. My friend Fedzwat told me what FPE was. I didn't know what it was at the time in December, and I was like, well, okay, let's go join the code for it. This is when it was, more popular back then. Nowadays it's starting to go on a little bit of a downfall. It's still a lot of people there, but I feel like, no one new is joining. I digress though. So then you have, Fedzot tell me what it is. I go in there, I start screaming and yelling and acting like, oh, what is this thing? And I go search it up on YouTube. And that was actually the first time I ever saw what FPE was. I actually knew who Katie was back in, the summer of 2024 when, there was a whole friend group drama. And my friend really loved Aiden a lot for some reason and had a whole Aiden profile picture. And I was like, oh, I guess he likes that. I don't know what that is, but I searched up, I guess not what searched up, but he did send like fan artwork of it, I'm pretty sure. And then I like looked it up, and then I saw Katie's channel, and then I saw FPE, but I didn't I just skimmed over the thumbnails. I didn't actually see the names of the titles, but I remember all the videos, and yeah.
Okay,
So,
so
I knew what FPE was back then, but I never interacted with it much.
okay, so wait, who was do you know who this friend was who liked Aiden that much, and that's what really like
Yeah, I know him. I knew him from back when, like in my earlier days when I was, working on Unity games, and I met him through there.
oh,
But yeah, I
nice.
know him. I'm not exactly friends with him now, because to be honest, he kind of ended up being a douchebag to a lot of us, so we kind of eventually just dropped him.
Okay. Okay. So getting back to the timeline here, you and None User went into VRChat, and you guys went to the VRChat fandom of FPE. And then this was when this was around the time where Better Call Zoc was made. Better Call Zoc was made.
Better Call Zoc was made in, I remember the day, May 15th. So we're getting nearly to a year ago. It's been around 10 months ago now. Anyway, I feel old, by the way. I do. I made that when I was 16. And although, it wasn't that long ago, I feel really old. I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, in March and April, mainly, I think a bit of February, we mainly did a lot of trolling. We just messed with people. I mean, all we did, I went in there with Lana, he went in there with Abby. We would make Kanye West on site Yeezus references all the time, and other pieces of music that he made, as well as just jokes we had, as well as when me and him went in as Jesse Pinkman and Walter White, and we started cooking in the school and selling meth to people. Good times, I tell you. I really miss those times, and I wish I could go back and do those again. But, with how FPE is now, it just wouldn't have that same spark. But I think that's just me, if anything, because I've been in it so much, and, everyone knows who Shakerco is. And, no, yeah, it's impossible to do something again when so many people know who you are. Anyway, yeah, and then we kept messing with people. The whole breakup thing in the April, where there was these people that played an April Fool's prank, where they would prank, breaking up in front of a huge audience. And April Fool's kind of knew it was an April Fool's prank, but I uploaded it to YouTube because I thought it was funny. It's I think my first ever actual FPE video I did, other than a previous Gorilla Tag video where I group kicked FPE fans in Gorilla Tag. So Yeah. And then we get to May, where I meet both Abby Apple and Ayato because I was taking on the Saul Goodman personality or the persona or whatever you want to call
Better
it.
Call Saul,
Back then I was
which is what Better Call Zoc is based off of. Better Call Saul.
Yes, and back then I was watching Better Call Saul, especially in school. I was binge watching that. I just didn't want to do work in a specific class. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna binge watch Better Call Saul in there. And the teacher would sometimes stop me and be like, "You should work on your work." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." Wait 5 minutes, go back to doing what I was doing. Good times, I'll tell you. Hey, sophomore year was fun. So was freshman year. Freshman year was fun too. But anyway, that's off topic. But yeah, Better Call Saul. I was watching that, and usually when I ever make videos like that, I would want to make a little gimmick with it. And so with Better Call Zoc, I came up with that. Better Call Zoc. It was a gimmick that I thought it was like, okay, alongside an exposed video, I never liked being serious. It's one thing about me. And you probably know this. A lot of other people know this. I don't
Yeah.
like being serious. I hate being serious.
Yeah, I know
I
you.
fucking hate it.
Because I've known you for like I don't know how long now. It's been like a few months since I really
long
like,
enough to know that you can learn that I'm not a serious person.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I know
And that's
personally that
where
you're not serious. Yeah.
And that's where I came up with the Better Call Zoc gimmick because I was like, well, Better Call Zoc. Better call him. Call him if you have drama. You know, that stupid shit, you know? And so, I took that on. I uploaded the video to YouTube, and that's really where I started to become known. Actually, how it was created wasn't really based off of just me. It was based off of Abby Apple because I jokingly asked him if I should make a video about it, and then he said yes. And then I kind of got curious, started working on the intro, and then we went from there. And me getting known is also kind of a mystery, by the way. I don't know if Abby Apple or Ayato had a part in that, or if it was Beef Boy when I first met him in early or late May, or when the Frenny stuff happened more then. I don't know. I don't know when I really started to get known.
Okay, the Frenny stuff. We will get to that. We will get to that. So this was around May, like around middle of May, when you made Better Call Zoc, and the first episode was made on a person called Baby Braces, right?
Baby braces, yeah.
So I actually remember some videos that you had. This was during the Baby Braces stuff. This was actually it was like in like the final parts of like the footage that you had about all the Baby Braces drama when it happened. I was actually there in the background months before I even met you, and I didn't even realize.
A lot of people in some of my older recordings that I had published online for channel vault purposes, I saw a lot of people in there. I saw people like Zarin. I saw people like I Look Dumb. I saw people like RXEP. I think I saw you in one of them too. I saw a lot of people from back then that I didn't even know or had added in, or I would have added later on. And so, damn. VRChat's kind of a small place. Same said for the world. The world's we live in a small world. And we meet a lot of the same people that, are intertwined into old things.
So so getting back to Baby Braces, what happened in terms of like what she was accused of that caused you to make a video about her?
Considering this was 10 months ago, it's probably a little foggy in my head, but I know that they were seemingly... Their age is a bit of a mystery because they change it up so much, but they were an adult who were doing not so good things to Abby Apple and Ayato. I'll go as far as to say that. Or I think it was only one of them. I'm not sure. Abby Apple or Ayato. And so, well, I was told that, and I was like, ugh, I don't like those kinds of people. Especially, beforehand, I exposed another guy named Lord Monocle on Gorilla Tag, and I was like, well, what if I do it again with FPE? And so... that's where the whole Baby Braces thing stems from, where I was like, I don't like people like that. Fuck that. So I make a video about them. Now, this is, of course, before I had, great information about Baby Braces, like, oh, what's their true age? All I knew back then is that they were an adult. But knowing more now that they go under the alias Scout Puppy and that they switched their age up, they sound really, high-pitched squeaker voice, and they claim they're 15, but I call bullshit on it. Because of their past, and I guess from what I heard from other people, I don't know. My whole thing is still foggy about it because Baby Braces wasn't so known, but Baby Braces was the Kickstarter for what, began Better Call Zoc.
Okay, okay. So fast forwarding to episode 2 of Better Call Zoc. I believe this was on the infamous Real Goku, if I'm correct. Real underscore Luigi.
The third video actually was where Real Goku was. The second video
Oh,
I
what was
know
the
was like
second
a
one?
more kind of continuation of little things, but I don't remember much. But I know the third video. The third video is really where a lot of topics were discussed.
Yeah, because when did you meet Real Goku? When did you like meet him for the first time?
When I had Goku added, he claimed he met me when I was doing my Jesse Pinkman Walter White thing, where me and Naniza were doing that. But the earliest memory I have of him is when he was on his Sans account. So yeah, when he was going up to Chance or Medi, and he was like saying things how she was Polly and just talking shit about her and whatnot. And so
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah, and we will get to that too. But so yeah, so fast forward through episode 2 and episode 3. That was when Real Goku was first mentioned by you exactly. So episode 4 was when you spoke about Miss underscore Grace, right?
Mm-hmm. Miss underscore Grace, the infamous problematic Aussie.
Yeah, because from what I've heard, she's a very problematic person. She's dated a lot of
Very.
people in the fandom. They've been accused of
Hell,
being a
she even
pedophile
dated
or
Emerald Wolf
groomer.
YT, the guy who owns Fundamental Classroom. I mean, god damn. She dated everyone, dude. Surprised she didn't try to date me. But I think that was when I was with Medi, so
Yeah.
she couldn't have anyway.
So so fast forward. Then throughout this, of course, this was going throughout the summer. Now, you were getting more and more well known in the fandom. And I've heard you say this before that you didn't want to be well known in the first place, apparently.
Yeah, all of this was just kind of like a one hit, then go. Like just post a video and go. And the name Shakerco itself is a joke name. It's not even a name that's supposed to be, tied with me so much. I came up with it because of an old friend group I had that had a big running joke within it. And Shaker at the beginning of 2025 was still heavily into my vocabulary. So I just put Shaker Cause. But then I was like, that's too similar to my actual name and I don't want people knowing who I was. So I shaved off the Z. You get Shakerco. Kind of sounds like Shaker Corporate or Shaker, all that. And so that's where I put the name Shakerco.
Okay.
It's just a joke name. The fact that my name is now so closely associated with the Better Call Zoc guy, or even just Zoc in general, makes me feel a little, because again, I didn't want to be known for this name, but I am now. I can't go back on that, can I?
No, you cannot. So fast forward, we go into so the first half of Better Call Zoc is finished at this point. So episode 5, this was at the time one of your most edited videos, as you said in the description, and this was also another video about Real Goku and him going
Yes, it was about
after
Real Goku.
him going after Miss Bloomy, aka Tamari.
Yeah, that was what the video was about. I
And
mean,
I mean,
it's very well edited. There's nothing else I can commentate on. Obviously, it's privated now, so is the many other Better Call Zoc videos. So, yeah.
yeah. So because from what I've heard, he's been going after Tamari for about 2 years, at least 2 years.
I think I'd like to say so. I don't know. I'm not real Goku, so if you had to ask anybody, you would ask him. But well,
I
me and you know how that would go because well, he'd probably say some not good things to you, like oh, I don't know, to slit your wrists or for you to unalive yourself. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
maybe don't.
and there's a lot of recordings of him saying that. I mean, he's kind of like a human meme at this point because he's kind of like a
Yeah.
locale at this point. So fast forward. So we're going. Episode 6 was the Better Call Zoc video that stayed up for the least amount of time, and this was
Yeah,
relating
that
to a
was
person
about
known
the
as Doom,
PPU, I
aka
think.
Piskets.
It wasn't about them. It was about the PPU. And Doomph and Piskets had a very big part in it because I think they used to be a part of it, and they told me a lot of information about it. That video didn't really do much other than it kind of incited fear on people because the PPU, from what I heard, is a bad group, not just from when Goku told me about it, from when Piskets told me about a lot of the things they did as well. So it caused me to make that video because, after talking to Dark Necromancer way more about it, I got more information about, well, PPU is just kind of a group that has a lot of mentally not there people that just try to catch pedophiles. Yeah, not a good mix, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we're getting closer to the end of Better Call Zoc, and then we're gonna get into a few things and like a few people that I know that you know.